You're about to learn why the most attractive men rarely send the first text, and this counterintuitive strategy has completely transformed how women perceive and pursue me. What I'm sharing today goes against everything you've been taught about dating, but the results speak for themselves. Most guys are walking around with their phones glued to their hands, firing off message after message, wondering why women lose interest so quickly. They're caught in this endless cycle of double texting, overthinking responses, and basically handing over all their power through a screen. But here's what nobody tells you about modern dating psychology. When you constantly initiate contact, you're essentially training her brain to see you as the pursuer, the one with less options, the guy who needs her attention to feel validated. This creates an immediate imbalance that kills attraction faster than almost anything else you could do. Women are biologically wired to be attracted to men who appear to have choice and abundance, not desperation. Think about it this way. Have you ever noticed how the women you're least interested in seem to text you the most? And the ones you really want to connect with barely respond? That's not coincidence. That's human psychology at work. We value what feels scarce and take for granted what feels abundant. The moment you stop being the first to reach out, something fascinating happens in her mind. She starts wondering what you're doing, who you're with, why you haven't messaged her yet. This creates what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, where incomplete or interrupted tasks occupy more mental space than completed ones. Basically, you become the unfinished thought she can't shake. I discovered this completely by accident when I got busy with a new project and didn't text a woman I'd been seeing for 3 days. When she finally reached out, her tone was completely different. More invested, more curious, asking about my life in ways she never had before. That's when I realized I'd been doing everything backwards. But here's where most guys mess this up. They think not texting means being rude or playing games. That's not what this is about at all. This is about becoming genuinely busy with your own life, having your own goals and interests that are so compelling that checking your phone isn't your top priority. The difference is massive. Women can sense the difference between a man who's strategically withholding attention and a man who's genuinely occupied with meaningful pursuits. The first feels manipulative and fake. The second feels magnetic and attractive. You want to be the second type. When you focus entirely on building an interesting life filled with hobbies, career goals, fitness, friendships, and personal growth, something incredible happens. You naturally become less available, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you actually are harder to get. Your time becomes valuable because you're investing it in yourself. This shift changes everything about how you show up in conversations when they do happen. Instead of being the guy who's been sitting around waiting for her response, you're the guy who has stories to share, experiences to discuss, and genuine enthusiasm for life. That energy is absolutely infectious. The key is understanding that attraction isn't built through constant communication. It's built through mystery, space, and the imagination that fills the gaps when you're not around. Every text you don't send is an opportunity for her to wonder about you, miss your presence, and invest her own mental energy in thinking about what you might be up to. I want to be clear about something important. This isn't about ignoring women or being disrespectful. When someone reaches out to you, respond with enthusiasm and genuine interest. Be present in those conversations. But let them come to you more often than you go to them. Let them experience what it feels like to initiate, to wonder, to pursue. The most confident, attractive men I know rarely send the first text because they're too busy living interesting lives. They respond when contacted, they're warm and engaging when they do communicate, but they're not constantly reaching out because they don't need validation from others to feel good about themselves. Start implementing this today.
Put your phone down.
Focus on your goals, your health, your passions. Become the kind of man who has so much going on that texting isn't your primary form of entertainment. Watch how quickly the dynamic shifts. Watch how much more interested people become when you're